Good evening and welcome to Spiritual Check-In with Father Philip, Melissa Roberts, and Dennis Souza. Hello, Melissa and Dennis. Thank you for being back. We're getting quite good at this now. We're getting quite good at this. After when all this is over, we're going to take this on the road.
We're spending more time together now than we do when we're in person, I think.
It's unbelievable. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, same here.
See you guys too, and it's great to have this opportunity to check in with the teens. We really miss them, and seeing them, and having sharing their faith and their joy. So great opportunity to take some calls and to see how they're doing, and kind of get a checkup and see what's been going on with them.
Awesome.
Are we ready for our first caller, Melissa?
Yeah, hopefully she'll be calling in any second. It'll be great to see her.
Melissa, do we know who's calling first?
Yeah, so we're expecting, and I think here she comes, Miss Hannah Clyde.
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, I'm good.
How's school treating you?
Pretty good, not bad. I'm managing, so surviving.
That's good. That's good.
Virtual learning. What's been happening with that?
My school, we haven't had to video chat really any teachers. We just have to. They upload assignments for us to do, so we just have to get them in by a certain time, and it's pretty manageable. It's not bad.
No interaction.
How's things going in the Klein household?
Pretty good. We're all.
Everybody's still living. Nobody killed each other yet.
Not yet. It's actually been fine. I mean, my dad's obviously working from home, and then Josh is doing his online classes too, and so is Liv. So it's been pretty quiet, thankfully. So we've all been in our separate corners doing our thing, but then during the day and stuff. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How are you keeping yourself busy at night? What do you?
So I've been FaceTiming a lot of friends,
Okay.
just trying to connect with them. Our Franciscan, we made a group chat, and so there's 70 of us going to Franciscan in the fall, and we've been on an app called Zoom, and we've been all Zooming every night for just getting to know each other and stuff. So that's been super awesome.
Nice.
So really that, and just
Nice.
kind of playing a lot of board games with my family and watching movies with my family. A lot of family time.
Nice.
But it's good. It's good.
So, Hannah, what have you been doing to stay connected with your faith, with God, with the church? What have you been doing?
So I've been making sure as soon as I get up, before I start schoolwork, I'm praying in the morning. I'm actually not even to be prideful, but I'm very proud of myself for some days I'll get up and I'm so tired, but I'm no, you have to do it. I'm trying to make it a habit. So that's my goal.
Awesome.
This time home, make good habits. So that's been my goal.
Mr. Aquinas is very proud of you.
Yes.
So I've been putting them right next to my bed. So as soon as I wake up, I turn over and I grab it. I've been doing my prayers. And I also set an alarm on my phone for 3:00, so to pray the Divine Mercy. So no matter if I'm doing schoolwork or what I'm doing, the alarm goes off and I pray it. And then we'll do some family rosaries sometimes. So I'll do that, or I'll do it with my Franciscan friends. We'll pray the Rosary of the Divine Mercy together.
Nice.
And then, it's been awesome. And then at night, I'll make sure before I go to bed, I do my prayers. Not when I'm laying down in bed. But
Wow, what happens when you lay down in bed, Hannah?
I fall asleep.
Atta girl.
But I've been trying to be on top of it, so it's been good.
Sounds like you've got some great habits going, Hannah.
So far, so good.
I was realizing even with my family is, almost the beauty of the forced time with family. Because how often are we kind of going in all these different directions or racing around everywhere that we don't take the time? So if anything habits are something that when we build them, they become part of our daily routine. And hopefully when we all, exit this quarantine, this Lenten time, right, we will be able to hold on to those habits. So Hannah, let me ask you a question. To all our viewers who are going to see this, seeing as you have such a handle on your prayer life right now, which is just so beautiful and you're so committed to it, what would you recommend to our teens who coming into this, time didn't have a strong prayer life or the habit of prayer? We know that, I mean, we've known you for a long time, and we know that you've really kept to that. You've been very diligent in your prayer time. What would you say to young people out there right now on how to either develop a prayer routine during the day, or how to find the stamina to keep going?
Well, I would suggest, like, if they're super into music, I know you have there's a lot of free time, so to pick good Christian artists or good Christian band or whatever, good playlists, and just as soon as you wake up, turn on that good positive music. So when you're getting ready, at least, because like subconsciously, it totally changes your whole mood. And then eventually, as they're playing it, then they'll begin to learn the words and they'll be singing along to it. And then it just kind of becomes a habit and part of your routine and something you listen to. And that's like really uplifting. Also, maybe if they have like a favorite saint or even your confirmation saint, to learn more about them, or to maybe pick one prayer that saint says and just commit it to, like, you're just going to say that one prayer every day. And then maybe you add another prayer next week on top of that. But just starting small with just your confirmation saint. You know, obviously we all had to pick one. So just starting by that, and just make, like what I did with the alarm. Because I was like, okay, I want to say Divine Mercy, but I keep forgetting when it's like 3 o'clock, or I keep forgetting to do it. So I just set an alarm this week. So like do that,
Nice.
set an alarm, have like some friends pray the prayers with you. Like that's what's been super helpful too. Doing it with my Franciscan group, we've all been like, okay, who wants to pray Divine Mercy tonight? Or, you know, it's like keeping each other accountable, doing it with your friends. It makes it more fun too, when you're first starting out and learning some new stuff. So those are my 2 big suggestions that I found have been really
Thank
Those are wonderful suggestions and good words to live by. Hannah, what's been the hardest part of this whole situation? This whole not only being home from school, but also just the whole coronavirus crisis. What's been the hardest thing for you, would you say?
I think, well, 2 things stick out is just not being able to see my friends. Of course, you can FaceTime and you can call and you can text, but it's just not the same as like personal like communication with your friends.
Absolutely.
And then obviously not being able to go to mass with your
And not
friends.
seeing Mr. Souza. That's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, hey, we
Heartbreaking for all.
sing together. Come on, yeah. She gets to see you, but we get to sing. I'm missing my choir.
Yeah, and so also like with the friends is just not being able to go to mass with our friends. Like obviously like it's still been amazing, and I give you all so much credit for getting up the YouTube running and like recording masses. Like that's a huge undertaking, but it's been, I think, very well received. And doing it with my family in my home honestly has been amazing, because it's like we're so focused on like just that and like nothing else, like of the people around us, like anything like that. So it's been great with my family, but I also miss being with my friends and that community. Sure. And going to Life Night after, or seeing my friends and, you know, that aspect. And then also just missing out on like senior year stuff like prom, or like the fun senior year privileges that you look forward to. But
I'm sure Dad is happy about that though.
Not kind.
No, he's sad for me too. He wants me to have some fun too this year. But
you know, I saw a recent post, and it was that you seniors were born when we were mourning, to 9/11, and now you're graduating from high school,
and pandemic.
There's this pandemic, and so it's. But we always remember, and that God always brings about greatness from suffering. And so we have think about how special our senior class is. There is no doubt that you are made and created for greatness, and that you guys are going to do wonderful, wonderful things.
Awesome.
So
absolutely. Well, Hannah, thank you so much for calling in and joining us today. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you, and so thank you so much, and we hope to see you very, very soon.
Yes,
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for doing this.
We'll talk to you soon, Hannah.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
you really start to miss them, especially when you see them, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I just seeing, as I I think I mentioned earlier. I was in the Adoration Chapel last night, having some prayer time, and there were two of our young people in there just having some prayer time, and it's just great to see them. Sunday night was so different without them, yesterday, and really come to love that 6 p.m. Mass. It's such a it's a very we have a very special group of young people here.
Yeah, we do.
Sure.
We do. Yeah. They're great.
I thought Hannah gave, some really great advice, even for those of our viewers who don't have a structured prayer life, or you're looking at Hannah going, I can't do that. Hannah's been a long time in training, and she's such a beautiful witness to all our young people. She's so involved in so many different things, and yet she carves out time for prayer. But think about all the opportunities that we are given right now to grow in our prayer life, to grow in our habits. So I highly encourage you to follow along in what Hannah suggested, of even just starting with with good playlists, with some Christian music, doing your work, put on something good in the background, allow those words to sink in, and then move into scripture and into just contemplations of the scriptures, and really to grow in relationship with God in prayer.
Now, Dennis, that can be switched out for Gregorian chant. That morning playlist. It can be switched out for Gregorian chant.
Hey, I didn't know there was any other music, Father. One of the things that I think is really important that she said is, just the schedule in general. That, obviously the opposite of virtue is vice. And sometimes when we have too much downtime, it can actually get us into a little bit of trouble. So it really is important having a schedule, just for the good things that we do to continue to build that virtue, rather than vice. And hopefully our young people right now are putting into practice. And Keith was talking about earlier today about the virtues at Saint Philip School and teaching them. But that's something that we really spend a lot of time on at St. Philip as a whole, is really teaching these young people that virtue is choosing the good over and over and over again. And so hopefully they're all doing that right now. And it's going to be nice to kind of check in with our young people moving forward. Hey, Melissa,
Yes.
Do we have like a list of young people calling in today, or how is this working?
We do. We are expecting our next caller any moment. You don't know her at all, Mr. Souza. She doesn't live with you. She might, and I think she's calling in right now. Actually,
Whoa.
We're gonna welcome. Wait, we can't see you though. Where are you, my darling? There she is.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there she is.
Hi, Grace.
Hey, beautiful.
Dad.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm stuck in my house.
Are you on a different floor than Dad right now?
Yes, I'm in the basement right now watching TV.
Yes, because he took over the living room, we heard.
Yeah. I can't eat in there anymore. I can't do anything.
Although I saw a blanket earlier. Was that yours laid out?
That was for the other night, but yeah, I go in my room or in the basement. I've been banished.
Banished, Mr. Souza.
It's like quarantine within the quarantine.
Yeah, like Mom's
That's
top
right.
floor,
That's
he's
right.
got the middle floor, and I have the basement.
Oh wait, he gets the kitchen?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Yes.
convenient.
Yes.
and the truth
absolutely.
comes out.
Always.
Hey, the king of the house. The king of the house gets the pick of the house.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh man.
No revolution.
She
No
can't-
rebellion.
So Grace, how's school going? What's going on with you right now? How you doing?
Well, I had my first day of school today, virtual learning. I mean, it went well. I got all my work done that I needed to do, but I miss my friends and I miss seeing people every day. I'm stuck with these people at home.
There are no better people. You are so blessed.
Oh. Hey, it's a lot quieter in your home than it is in mine right now, though.
Well, about
Yes,
30
yes.
minutes ago it wasn't, but
It was not.
saying the rosary.
Oh, I heard about that.
Why don't you tell us about that, Grace?
Yes,
Why don't you
Grace,
tell
why
us
don't you tell
about that?
Well, I thought like normally the rosary is pretty peaceful. to
Hey, remember,
say.
Grace, the sanctity of the home.
Yes,
So what
I know.
happens under the roof stays under the roof.
But we're only under the roof. It's quarantine. Hey, just as saying, she is staying on the roof right now. She's under the roof.
Yes, I'll grant
All right,
the
go ahead.
dispensation.
Thank you.
I'll grant the dispensation.
Well, we say the rosary normally. Every day I've been either saying it with my mom in the car, on our way to like whether it be the grocery store or something like that, or we'll say it in our living room as a family. Yesterday we did it before Mass as a family, but today was a little bit more challenging because we were on video camera. And you think that it's the same, but it's really not. And yeah, I can't explain it other than like when you do it, it's just. I don't know, and then you
So,
have
Grace,
people yelling at you.
The rosary is supposed to be peaceful, right? It took us about 14 takes without arguing or
Without arguing?
or laughing at each other.
Well, even our
So,
final
yeah,
one, we did mess up a little, but it's all right.
we're not French. You did. No.
I did not mess up.
Oh,
Oh.
you gonna take that, Grace?
Oh.
I just started laughing, but I controlled it. It was all right.
Well, any words of advice, because I'm going to try to do the same thing in a couple of days with the 4 kids. I don't know if Chris is
It
going to
takes
be
a lot of patience, that's for sure.
patient. Okay.
Don't get mad at them either.
Working
Don't get
on
mad
it.
because it's actually really hard.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. I appreciate that. No.
Grace, you mentioned watching Mass from home. How is that? How is that? Did you like it? You know, what are the things that you liked about it? What didn't you like about it?
Well, obviously, I didn't like it as much as going to actual like church, to being in the house of God. But I did feel like I was there, so it was very nice. The only thing I didn't like was when it came time for a father when he would normally pass out the Eucharist. I got aggravated because I couldn't receive it. But it was like a little tease. So, but other than that, I really
Understandable.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It was nice and peaceful, and I was able to go through it like I would a normal Mass, very prayerful.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I gave Grace for homework this Lent was to watch.
Oh, she's got virtual learning, and then you're giving her homework on top of that.
Yeah, but this homework was easy. It was simply to watch the movie The Passion of Christ all by herself, and so she gave that. She did that yesterday on her own. So Grace, why don't you tell us, was that a good experience? Was it difficult? What was it like?
I'd say it was both good and difficult. Good because I didn't have to control my emotions to I wouldn't say impress anyone, but I didn't have to suppress my feelings to make sure I wasn't making anyone else uncomfortable. And it was difficult to watch, of course. I mean, especially the scourging at the pillar, is the most difficult scene for me. And especially when Mary meets Jesus, when he falls. So those were some of the moving points, and obviously the crucifixion. But those 3 points really stood out to me.
And is there one thing that you take away?
He goes, "Are you okay?"
What happened to you?
Hey, under the roof, sanctity of the home.
One thing that I took away, I mean, I've seen this many times. Everyone, I watch it at least once. Just a reminder that really I am loved in what Jesus has done for me personally, that he died for me on the cross, and that he had that my name was on his lips when he died. So that was really moving.
Would you recommend your peers to, while they're in quarantine right now, to take an opportunity to watch this? Is it even available? Does anyone know? Is it available on Netflix or any
I think
Prime?
it's available on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I think it's on Prime. But I was actually thinking about that when I was watching the movie. I definitely recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it, especially during this Lenten time.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it by yourself, like Grace was saying, I think oftentimes, especially, it doesn't matter who you are. I guess even for a guy, I find that to watch it by myself, that it just hits you in a different way, and you're able to really just be alone with your Lord as you go through this, and talk about, when you pray the sufferings. And one of the neat things as Catholics, when we use the word, like remember, we use it to make present, and to be present with Jesus in his suffering. It really, to be alone with him in that, it really kind of just hits you in a different way. And so even if you have seen it before, I think it's really important that every person watch that movie at least once all by yourself.
Especially for me. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Grace.
Especially for me, every day during Lent, I've especially been praying the sorrowful mysteries, no matter like what day it is, just because of different things that are going on in my personal life. Yes, in my sin. But really, as I pray each decade, I like concentrate on like the agony in the garden. But watching the movie really brought it to life, and I was able to, like, next time I go to pray the Rosary, the sorrowful mysteries, to really reflect upon that.
That's beautiful. And I think now, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember that is supposed to be really one of the most accurate portrayals of the crucifixion ever filmed. And I think what's really cool,
I wouldn't doubt it.
And I would recommend as well, Jim Caviezel spoke at Seek, a college, it's almost like a college student released for my friends. Look it up on YouTube. It's out there. And he gave a phenomenal testimony to what he experienced playing Jesus on that set and the things that he actually endured. So I highly encourage, I think we're all going to encourage to all of our young people, our high school young people who are, who are older, to really take time to watch that between now and Good Friday, and even to follow up. I'm giving you more homework, Grace. Go watch. Go watch this video. No, I can't give you homework because you got a lot going on, but you have an opportunity to check out that video.
No, you can give a homework. You have parent permission.
It was so well done, and I think it was so moving to watch him really speak about his experience portraying Jesus in that movie. So,
yeah, awesome.
Something to think about. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Well, Grace, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for calling in. We miss you. We're praying for you, and we look forward to seeing you.
I feel famous on here.
And you can go reclaim the living room. Whenever you
You just heard it from your priest.
That's right. I'm giving you that dispensation.
Thank you.
All right. God bless, Grace.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Bye.
Nice to see you.
Oh, that's so much fun.
It's always such a powerful movie.
Yeah.
It is.
Passion.
It is. It really is.
I try. I also try and watch it on Good Friday every year, and it is that you're talking about that experience of just watching it by yourself. It becomes it takes on a whole nother meaning. That as
absolutely.
you said, Dennis, it's just spending that time with your Lord, and as Grace was saying, then taking those images and really using those for your prayer. Kind of it's stirring those sentiments and those emotions.
And Melissa, you had said that that is an accurate portrayal of what Christ suffered, and one of the resources that Mel Gibson used for that movie was the Dolores Passion from Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, I believe it is, and she received many mystical visions of actually what happened at Jesus's his whole passion and his crucifixion. And it really is very beautiful, very moving. And I would just, who gave me that idea was Dr. Peter Kreeft. Years ago, I heard him say, and I don't remember where it was, but he had given the recommendation that even if you saw that movie before, to watch it by yourself. And I did. And it really, it was another, I think, thing that I would say, you know, how you have many moments of conversion throughout your life. For me personally, that was a moment of conversion for me. Absolutely.
And I think any of our, you know, even any adults who are watching this this video, I hope, number one, that you were inspired by our young people and their faith and how much they love the Lord. But to also, you know, to any adults who are watching this, if you haven't seen the Passion of the Christ, please take a moment and you know, some time prayerfully to watch that. I think it's a great thing now that we're finding more time for prayer in our lives, some time to fill. Why not take an opportunity to view that and really, you know, and we all know that I just enjoy listening to Mark Hart so much and listen to him talk. We just, what was it, 2 weeks ago, Dennis? It feels like forever now. We had our last Edge class, we had adoration, and we previewed, we used a couple of our Life Teen videos that really talked about the crucifixion, talked about what Jesus suffered, and then, you know, taking what we know he did and really claiming that, like to say, this is my Lord and my Savior, and this is what he did for me. And every time I make the sign of the cross, I need to remember, as I'm looking over your head, Dennis, to the crucifix, right? I need to remember what he did.
Can you see it with the shine? With the
yes.
shine on my head, you can still see it.
Speaking of the shine, the next person coming on made a video about that shine, Mr. Sousa. But I think it's so important for us to remember what Christ did and to not take that for granted. So often, how many of our young people are like, oh, Drake Grace said, I wish I was in the church. I was frustrated, you know, at the time of communion because I was not receiving. How often do we take for granted the Mass? Do we take for granted the ability to receive?
And I think that, you know, I'm sorry, Father, but I think the most difficult thing, and we always tell this to young people, is that the faith of your mom and dad is not enough for you. I mean, they did the most important thing that they could ever do for you is to baptize you, you know, but now there has to be those moments where you take the Catholic faith and really make it your own. And this really only comes with a decision to enter into a deep personal relationship with God, you know, and this is just, that was why, you know, another reason why I wanted my daughter to do it. She's 16 now. And I really wanted this to be a moment from where she makes the faith of my wife and I, what we have given her, and really make it her own. And, you know, we see these young people struggle so much sometimes with the world that they're growing up in to, you know, to stay Catholic, to embrace their faith. And so any opportunity that they can really make their faith, make our faith their own, is just so important.
Yeah,
absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Amen. Let me check in with our next caller. Make sure he is on his way, so that we can continue this conversation.
Father, I had interrupted you before. I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
Just, I mean, that this, you know, because it really is actually a very kind of, you know, very profound thing. What Grace said, that, you know, that she was frustrated that she couldn't receive Holy Communion, that, you know, that beautiful devotion, but that this time of trial when we cannot have, you know, ready access to the sacrament of the Eucharist, to assisting at the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass, that it's an opportunity for us to really revisit that, that devotion and reverence for Holy Communion. Oh, here he is.
Oh,
Mr. Tim.
hello, thank you
Hey,
for
I
having me. I
love your
appreciate it.
backdrop.
Look at that. He has outclassed us all.
It
Oh,
is
please.
so good to see
Shirt
you.
and tie.
We don't mess around here, Father, please.
No, certainly not.
I
this
thought
is-
Pope Francis was going to be in this call. Is he coming later
Well,
or something
yeah,
like that? Or,
until you showed up, this was amateur hour.
Amateur hour. Oh, never. When there's a caller involved, there never is.
Now we got Mr. Barron. Good to see you. What's happening?
Nothing much, Father. How have you been?
Been good. Been good.
Good to hear.
It's been busy.
Yes,
It's just a very. 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have thought we'd be doing as many conference calls as we've been doing,
Yep.
or hosting a talk show and having you guys on. But
We're getting pretty good at it, gotta say.
there we go. Practice is making perfect. I guess.
True.
But
Have you been following the YouTube channel at all, Tim? Have you been seeing what we've been putting up?
Absolutely, yep. So I followed along with Father with our Stations of the Cross. Of course, I was with the very Reverend Francis Santilli when he had morning mass on Sunday. That was beautiful, and yeah, we've been taking advantage of what you guys are putting out. It's been good.
Awesome.
Us old people are doing. I'm sorry. You know what? Father Philip the other day, he's like, I took offense to that. I'm like, I'm sorry, Philip. You are the younging. Us old
The young-
people. I'm like pointing to the screen because I'm actually pointing to Mr. Trudeau. You can't see that. But we're trying, really.
Hey,
hard.
I'm
Yeah, no,
still
you're
young.
bumping it out.
I'm still young.
You are.
Young
We
at
are.
heart.
And if you're young, that means I'm young, so we're good.
So, Tim, what have you been up to, my friend?
Well, it's been a lot of downtime. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a lot of free time just sitting around. But the chapel has been a great source of inspiration. Going to our Lady's Chapel at the church, that's of course remained open. Great just to sit there, pray, but also just sit there and be in the presence, be somewhere holy. With this whole quarantine, it's tough being in four walls. So just to get out of the house and not screw around and not infect other people, to actually just sit in the chapel. It's good for the soul. It's good for the relationship as well. So I found that's been a great place for me personally.
Honestly, Tim, I have every time I have been to the church during this time, I've seen you in there, and quite honestly, you've been an inspiration for me. So thank you for your witness.
Oh, I just live there. Don't worry about that. That's not
Hey, it seems like you do.
Oh.
That's a great thing. And while we've got you, Tim, because I know you're so avid in your sports, especially in your running.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and I'm sure it has not been easy for you as a senior to kind of lose this last season. But how are you doing with all that? How are you doing with your physical health right now? And what could you recommend to, our young people about, our young people who are struggling or suffering through losing a season, losing a captainship that they probably just got as a senior? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, as a runner, that kind of puts us in a special category because, I can go outside and I can go for a jog by myself. By that same token, though, it's different not having a team with you. Luckily, I have some guys that live on the street who are also runners, so I can run with them. But it's not the same of having, my freshmen there and be able to do core exercise with them. It's a new reality, and it's nobody's fault. It's just what we have, and dealing with it day by day. But I would say do the best you can. You don't need a gym to work out or be active. You just need a floor if you want to. There's been a new challenge going around. Drop a new 10 where people do 10 push-ups and then they tag someone, they do 10 push-ups. So that's just been a great way, just a simple reminder that you just need your own body to stay active. The other day I just went with a walk, just went outside, and that's another way, simple way just to get out, get moving. It's also good just to be in nature. I think that can be tough, when you're just in the same room with the same people. Of course, we love our family, but when you see the same faces all the time, it can get a little repetitive. So just get outside. Get some fresh air in you. That's always healthy. And try and find the positives in all this, because there's a lot of negatives, especially as the seniors, especially at Smithfield. We have so many events, senior activities that, may be postponed, might be canceled. So just looking at the positives, what we can do right now, There's a lot that we can't change, so accepting that and changing what we can.
What
That's
would you
really
say?
important.
What would you say some of the positives you've noticed are?
Well, for one, we were much more humble now, I think, after this. There was a lot of things we probably took for granted, most notably probably the Mass and all this, the sacraments which we partake in with the church. So it's a great reminder that not to take things for granted. In addition, that I think we found the power of community, that when we are taken away from the community, where we can't interact with people, we can't talk with them all the time, we find how valuable that is and why we shouldn't waste that. I see often in the world there's a lot of petty little things that get between people. Put that aside, and moments like this remind us that how powerful we can become when we join together as a community and act as one.
Amen.
Awesome.
Absolutely,
Nice.
absolutely. So now this is a tandem that's going around. A tandem. That was it. That the 10 push-ups.
Oh, we call that a social media fad, Father.
Yes.
Yes, it is. That's 10 years in purgatory.
My new ventures into the realm of social media. I pray will not have people tagging me for one of those, because they might be sorely disappointed.
Father, I just gotta say, with the camera positioning, you can be on your knees. There's a lot of ways to edit it to make it, a little easier for you. Just saying.
Oh, there we go. You see, he's got the ideas, so.
Try.
Now you just started school today, right, Tim?
Our teachers gave us assignments today, and tomorrow we'll go into class periods where we'll meet with them online and video chat with them there. Yep.
And how is today's workload? What did you find about, being at home, kind of doing your schoolwork?
It's different. Today was an adjusted day. Smithfield took one day just to get into it. So today was just teachers give us work. We had all day to do it. Most of it's just due tomorrow. Nothing really due tonight. So today was just, get the assignments done at your own pace, which was nice. Tomorrow we'll move into, structured class periods where we have, 45 minutes part-time with the teacher and all that. I did, with a group of friends today, try out, we're using Google Hangout in Smithfield, where we can see each other, much like this, at video chat. We tried that out today. Takes a little bit to get the hang of it, but it's good to hear people's voices and see people's faces and be able to communicate like that now. So it's different. It's not as bad as I thought, though. I think we'll be able to get some stuff done, and we'll actually get some learning done.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, you, and just seeing faces and hearing voices, I think, oh, hey, Abs. That's what I was thinking was so important, was just really being able to see you guys and get that, we call this a spiritual check-in. So good to see you, Tim. And we really look forward to hopefully seeing you again real soon.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Ever since I seen the introductory video with the very Reverend Francis Santilli, I've been dying to get on this YouTube channel.
Amen, bro.
It's an honor to be on here right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tim.
We are very glad to have you.
Take it easy.
Hello,
Abby, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Abs. Here. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. This is so cool.
Good to see you.
Well, welcome. It looks like I did a overlap here, guys. That's really funny. That was my fun over. That is just the exhaustion kind of taking in as I'm trying to do.
Hey, it's a perfect transition.
It's wonderful. I love it. So, Abby, freshman year for you at Sacred Heart University, and it got cut short. Kind of. I mean, you're not done your semester, but you had to move out. How are you doing?
I'm good. Obviously, it was a lot to happen all at once. We were one of the first schools to kind of get thrown out because our spring break is a week earlier than everyone else. So, it really did come by surprise. We had no idea that was coming. It was actually a joke when we were going back to school. Like, they're going to shut the whole country down, and it was a joke. And then, it kind of came true. So, like I said, it was a lot at once, but, we took it day by day, and it's fine.
Good. Well,
it's good to see you, Abs.
Yeah.
I know. We should do this all year round so I can be here.
To our viewers. So Abby, has been with us. Actually, I met Abby when she was in 7th grade, and she left us this year to go off to college. And so it's always so wonderful to see, our young people as they leave us, to be able to check in even with them once in a while. And I know, Abby, one thing I'd love to hear. So you were with us for such a prolonged time, and then you went away to college. And right now our teens are kind of away from us. They're not able to get to St. Philip Church. They're not able to go to a life night. And you've had almost a year of that experience of not being able to be in your home parish or not being able to go to your life night. How can they stay connected to their parish community? What would you recommend? I know you've kept some friendships up from St. Philip's. And this is obviously a lot shorter period of time, but I know it's a completely different experience. And for them was very abrupt as well. What could you offer to, our high school young people out there concerning how to keep their morale up, or what hope they can find even amidst this trial?
I mean, the best answer I have to that, and I'm sure it's already been said, is that God is not confined to a building. Youth ministry is not confined to a building. God is everywhere. We have the ability to worship anywhere. We have the ability to connect with others through technology anywhere. While I was at school, I utilized FaceTime to be able to connect with my friends, and I think that, it's a tough way of looking at it, but for our high schoolers, take this as an opportunity to start getting ready for college when you're not going to have St. Philip Youth Ministry right there by your side. Your faith is your own. Let it be your own, and use others to help you. Use your technology to help you, but really take this quiet time to be one-on-one with God. I think this is an opportunity rather than a sacrifice. I mean, it's great that we have this opportunity to prepare ourselves for that.
So Abs, we hear a lot of times kids going off to college and really losing their faith. How have you been able to really retain your faith, your relationship with God during this time?
Well, I live right next to a church, so in some ways it's actually been even better. I can go walk right over in between classes. I have a lot more free time for prayer, and my prayer schedule did change around a lot, but I actually have more time for prayer, so
Beautiful.
I don't want to say it's better because it was great in high school, but there's a lot more opportunity where I am at school now.
I like the word schedule that you used. I think that's important. So your schedule has, you've been able to keep up with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different being at home, especially when you're with your family members. I went from being complete independent and going about my day, really telling no one what I was doing and where I was going unless it was asked. And now, I'm reporting to my parents 24/7.
How's Evan?
As it should be.
Where's Evan? Is Evan home?
Evan's home. Evan started online learning today, so
he should come say hi to us.
He's up. Maybe he's already.
Oh wow, good for him. He must be missing his sports, though. I'm sure.
He misses his sports tremendously. This is the most I've ever seen. This is the most Evan and I have spoken in like years because Evan's always at sports, I was always out. So it's a lot of brother-sister bonding.
So how is that? Is that good? Is that a good
We
thing?
have moments where it's good, and we have our moments where, we're brother and sister.
Everyone's alive, so it's good.
Living still.
Good. Confessions are available down the street still. And to all of our young people, to all of our adults, we still have our confession times available. So Saturday mornings at 8:30, correct, Father? 8:30 to 9?
8:30 to 9, and then in the afternoons, 3 o'clock to 3:45. And then if someone cannot make those times, they're free to call or email to make another appointment. So.
Awesome.
We're always willing and available.
Wonderful.
Nice. Nice.
Thank you, Abby. Thanks so much for checking in with us. It's so good.
Hey, it was awesome to see you, Abby.
Yeah.
I know. I'll see you guys hopefully soon in person.
Yes, absolutely. Especially now that we got you home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry that you're home. I'm sorry that you like, but it's a selfish thing. I'm really happy you're home too.
I'm here for a while. Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Thank you, Abby.
Thanks so much. Oh, she's so. Hey,
Mr. Cole.
Mr. Cole.
Look at that face, and he's in a shirt and tie too.
I figured it out. The sacristans are just like poised and waiting. They just can't wait to get back in the sacristy. So the minute the quarantine is ended, they are there.
I think they're going
They
to
are
move in.
there,
I think they're going to do
lighting
it
the
overnight.
charcoal. I mean, they're just like, they are ready.
Cole, are you missing the incense? Is the incense? Are you like going through incense withdrawal? Oh, you're muted. Hold on, you're muted. Can't hear you. Turn on the mic. Testing 1, 2. Okay, hold on, not yet. Where's your mic?
I see his mic is muted right now for some reason. Can you hear us?
He can hear us. I'm learning how to read lips.
We could also do like a contest as well.
Try that.
You know,
nope. I still can't hear you. Oh, we made all these fun jokes. We got delayed response.
That's okay. I mean,
Can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2. Hey, Cole, try hanging up and call us back. See if you can get refresh the feed. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. Oh, he left. See if he comes back. And if we can hear him, we're gonna pray.
Yeah. Hey, Father, these young men raising the bar here.
Wow.
really,
Hello?
I mean,
Can you hear me?
There he is.
Okay, very good.
Hey, there we
Very
go.
good.
Now you have to remember
Okay.
all the questions we threw at you all at once.
Oh,
I think next time I'm gonna have to come in and like cassock and fascia and
No.
cape and
What
everything.
about the hat? The
Oh,
Beretta.
that's on
the Beretta. It's always Beretta season. It would have been perfect today with the snow. You could have covered your head and everything. It would have been absolutely perfect. But
Well, actually,
sadly we're here.
The other day I had a funeral liturgy out, but it's because we can't have a funeral mass. It was at the cemetery, and it was outside, and it was quite a windy day, and Father Frank had said, like, you're going to need a cape, like one of those capes. I said, oh, don't worry, I had the cope on. It was okay. I had the cope on. So
Always
prepared. Oh,
I
yes.
have to be.
Hey,
How
Archbishop
is things
Fulton
going?
Sheen, right? The cape.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. With his Sariolo, for sure.
Amen.
For sure.
And to answer your question, Melissa, yes, I am going through incense withdrawal right now, especially during Lenten season when it's just so beautiful to be part of the liturgy. But alas, here we are.
Here we are. How are you doing, Cole?
I'm actually doing pretty well. I think it was honestly like pretty good for me for this. I mean, obviously it's a tragedy for it to happen, but I've just been able to, sit back and not be about the chaos of my life. I mean, especially for me, and I can probably talk for a majority of people who travel to school like a decent amount. Like, it really takes a lot out of you because I'm usually going from my house right in the morning to school, to sports, then home, and then maybe an event or at the church or so. So I've been able to really just, chill out for a majority of the day and just, be at calm, which is nice, but then it can also be dangerous. But once I get the hang of it and not falling into, laziness and actually using my time wisely, it's actually been a benefit for me in some sense.
Nice.
Being able to just kind of slow down a little bit, and sometimes that is nice in the Lenten season to really have that increased time of silence and of those opportunities. And sometimes it takes, unfortunately, something like this to to force us to quiet down. So it's in one of the ways that we can look at this situation as a positive.
Yeah.
But what's been the hardest thing, apart from the incense withdrawal, which I'm sure is severe? What would you say the hardest thing has been?
Well, I would definitely say segregating my life because, like I was saying, like before, yes, I would be traveling in a lot of places, but I really would have like my own area. So, when I was at home, that would be my time of just chilling out. When I was in the car, that was the time to either listen to music or some podcasts. When I was at the church, it was that time for prayer. And I think going into it, it was very difficult for me because when I'm home, I'm not used to doing a lot of schoolwork. I'm just here to get my homework done, then fine. I'm not used to doing the majority of my prayer here, especially mass. That's nobody's used to that. And then even like music and everything else just coming to my life. Podcasts. My religious reading the Bible, scripture. It's kind of prayer, just trying merging it into one area. I thought that was the hardest part for me because, subconsciously I'm like, I can do nothing all day. But I just need to wake up and say, no, I have to do X, Y, and Z, and just trying to organize my life, especially when the majority of the time I'm within these four walls. Because we have a lot going on in my house. I have parents that work, so it's like we don't want to be on top of each other, especially when if they're on calls or anything. So I'm mostly confined here, so I need to be able to segregate my life into these different aspects of prayer, worship, schoolwork, and then just time to with that Lenten aspect, just be for a minute. So I would say that's the hardest part. I've been working on it, and it's been going pretty well. And I think this will be a benefit for me, especially going off into college where I'm going to be in my dorm room a lot. Because I won't be going out as much. I won't have a car. So I think learning these skills now will actually be beneficial in the long run for me, especially when it comes to prayer. I found a lot that, especially in my spiritual life, it's very difficult for me to pray at home. Because, I do see it subconsciously as I can relax, I can do nothing. But this has really pushed me to, go beyond that. And that has really helped me grow. And I'm hoping, especially during this Lenten season of, spiritual reflection, that coming out on the other side with that Easter Sunday and going forth with the rest of my life, this will be a huge benefit for me to, take the light out of the darkness. So,
amen.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Hey, someone was listening to the homily on Sunday.
That was an amazing homily. I was getting chills.
Excellent. It was an excellent homily.
Oh yes,
yeah, it really was.
I got the preview of the first two words. That's all I got.
That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need.
It was a phenomenal homily.
And for anybody who is wondering what we're talking about right now, you can go on this YouTube channel and go back to Sunday Mass to Father Frank's homily. You will appreciate it. Really outstanding.
Absolutely. Definitely. I think it's about the 19-minute mark, somewhere in there.
Right.
If you're looking to find that, I saw that somewhere. Hey, Cole, it's just so good to hear your voice, to see your face. We miss all of our young people so much.
I miss being there too. It's really tough.
Yeah. But we thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk tonight. I think you offered some really great insights, even for some of our young people who might be struggling right now. With again, not heading into spiritual laziness or physical laziness or even educational, or emotional, but to really to persevere and to really see the good. So thank you for that insight. Cool. And we're hoping that
living those virtues, Cole.
Yes.
I know. We get to work on our spiritual warfare here, Mr.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Down to it. Use our weapons.
Absolutely. And what weapon are we using, Cole?
Our rosary, our scriptures, everything.
Amen.
We got to be ready to go.
Amen.
Attaboy.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you.
You too. You too. God bless.
Take care.
God
Bye.
bless.
See you, buddy. I missed them.
I do too. I think we had. You know what I think I did?
Good to see him.
I think I accidentally, like, some of the times for tomorrow night got in this, so we've got almost a double over. I don't know.
Okay.
It's totally cool. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more people to say hi to tonight, and I don't know if if they texted me or what's going on, Melissa. But it looks like we're okay right now. Oh, I'm so these young people are just, maybe it's helping us too, because pretty soon, a lot of who we saw tonight, or all we saw, except for Grace, they're they're or already college graduates, and it's we've been talking about, you're not allowed to go, stop growing up. And their insights.
We say that every year, though.
We do.
It is every year God brings more young people. Hey.
Hi.
And God brings another one right now.
Right.
Hannah, good to see you.
Hi. I'm good. How's everyone doing?
We're good.
Very good. Now that we see
we're good.
you,
We're good. We're doing good.
busy.
been it's been a kind of a crazy week. Just I mean, with getting the YouTube channel up, and I before like last Wednesday, I had never live streamed something in my life, or anything like this. So this has been all new, but it's awesome. But how are you doing? What's been going on?
It's been kind of busy, but at the same time, I have like nothing really to do. It seems like I'm such a busy person, like typically. So it's been interesting having to stay inside, not really having a lot to do. So I don't know. It's been all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Father.
Did you start the virtual learning today, or how was that?
Yeah, so today we didn't really start like the class periods, but we did like assignments and stuff from each of our classes. Tomorrow's when we actually start like the like one classes, like where you're actually going to like periods as they would call them. So tomorrow's our first like real try at it.
Okay, and is it the same? Now it's back to I don't know if did you sleep in last week where you were like, okay, I'm on vacation, I'm not allowed to go anywhere, so I'm just gonna sleep in, and now you're like, I gotta set the alarm again.
Yep. Luckily though, it's earlier. It's earlier is when I typically wake up, and now I get to wake up at like 8 rather than like 5, so it's a little bit nicer.
Well, that is, hey, that's a win all around.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So, Hannah, what activities are you really missing out on right now that you're not able to participate in?
Well, if it wasn't for this, I would be doing track practice every day after school. I haven't been able to do that, which kind of stinks. I also cannot play soccer right now. I obviously haven't been able to go to mass, which is very interesting this weekend, but I was able to do it like on the TV, and then I actually went to like mass like in the car. I don't know if Tim talked about that, but we did that.
You went to Johnston?
Yes, we went to Johnston.
Wow, what was that like?
It was very interesting. So like we kind of sat in the car, and they gave us like the paper that had like kind of how the mass order, and then the priest outside saying mass, and we just sat in our cars and like kind of followed along with it. It was interesting.
Wow. How do you I'm like how do we stand and kneel? We don't. I'm like,
you don't. No, you just and we're not allowed to get out of the car either. Like you cannot get out of the car.
Wow.
So,
were a lot of cars there?
Yeah, they had to end up starting to park people like in like the like where you would drive in the parking lot because there wasn't enough spaces. A lot of people did go.
Well, it can definitely be said that everyone is like all of our priests are working so hard to really bring the mass to the faithful. I think one thing that is really important that we talked about even the other day was that masses have not been suspended. It's just the public mass, but that our priests are still offering masses for us.
Yep.
And those graces are still being poured out into the world from their sacrifice. So I know I can join you, and I know everyone around the world essentially can join you in how weird or not normal it was this weekend to not be able to do mass. A newfound maybe respect or not respect for the mass, or just when you lose something that you always have, the realization of how important it is to you. So Hannah, what would you say to young people right now, or on how to continue to really grow in their faith during this time where they can't receive Jesus sacramentally, or are confined to their homes right now? What would you share with them about how they can remain faithful but continue to grow in their relationship and not become stagnant?
Yeah, so I think it's actually kind of like a good thing that we have so much like free time right now. Something that I want to get much more involved in is reading scripture. So like actually, opening a Bible, actually reading it, like trying to do that a lot more, I think is definitely something that people tend to miss, like when you have so many things to do. So that's something that I would say that I want to do personally, and other people should also try doing. Just kind of like you have a lot of time to just like pray like on your own. Like there's so much free time that you can just like use just to sit and to like think about everything and pray and just talk to God.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Anna. It's so great to see your face, to hear your voice tonight.
You too.
And we're looking forward to hopefully seeing all of you very, very soon.
Yes, you
See you
too.
soon, Hannah.
Thank you. Take
Bye,
care.
God bless,
everyone.
Hannah.
Bye.
Bye. And I think we're going to pop right up here to our very own seminarian. I think he's here. No, are you not here right now? Hold on. Maybe he'll try again in a second. I think he tried to pop up there. Let's see. I got to talk with Noah a little bit the other day. Oh, he left. Come back. Oh, there he is. I see
He's
that.
joined.
I'm seeing he's coming. Hey,
Noah.
how are you?
Sorry.
Hey,
Oh,
Noah,
it's okay.
I feel like I've been seeing a lot of you between all the masses that you have been doing. It's been great to see you. And hey, you're an outstanding reader at Mass.
Thank you.
So thank you for the readings. You're doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's funny. I've been telling people that I'm never allowed to leave my house. Every time I leave, I'm on camera. So my life outside my house is very well documented.
Well, we're very blessed, by your ministry, Noah, and of course, studying for the priesthood, and we're again, always so grateful and so proud of you for that. And I know you and I had the opportunity to talk a little bit the other day about all of our seniors, and of course, Noah, you yourself are a senior this year, and we were just talking about all of our seniors not being able to, or having a postponed walk for their graduation, and how they're feeling, and you were very empathetic towards that. What could you say, to our seniors right now as they're missing out? And hopefully this is not going to go on too long, but we don't know.
Sure.
So what could you share with them?
I think that there's a lot of reflection going on right now about our own personal suffering, the suffering of a lot of people in the world. A lot of people are struggling, but it kind of something I've been reflecting on personally recently is just uniting those sufferings to the cross. Sometimes, it's funny that, the way things have worked out, that we can even feel more alone in our suffering because we're away from other people. It's hard for us to talk about the things that we're going through. So we can feel alone in our suffering, but really understanding that there is someone that's gone through suffering before that understands it. And in fact, that's even God himself. So all the difficult things that are happening, not being able to go to class in person, that's something I'm finding difficult. Not being able to see, I live in a seminary community. Now I'm living at home. That's something difficult for me too. So there's a lot of things going on that we need to understand that we're not alone in, that our suffering, we're not abandoned, and that there's something good that God's planning in the end. Really, that's something that we have to kind of keep in the front of our mind, even though these things are really difficult.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful. Absolutely.
I'm thinking about something right now, Noah, based on, like what you're talking about right now. And we know in the Catechism, it says that, the church will have to go through her own passion, and that's like, I almost feel like right now that the church is in Good Friday right now, really in the garden alone, if you will. So I feel like I really can relate to kind of what you just really spoke about right now. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, sure.
A beautiful insight. And I think, and I think the most important thing, one of the most important things that we can consider from that, Dennis, I think, Grace said earlier, was that agony in the garden, and Christ's, Lord, not my will, but yours. And, all of us are kind of crying out. I'm guilty of that. The other day, I was like, Lord, please let this pass me. I can't. And it's like that. I can't get sick. I can't get sick right now. Please spare me, and protect me. Put a bubble around me,
Right.
But are we really placing the trust in God? That His will is perfect, and that He will bring good about from everything. And of course, we recall and remember and pray for all of our first responders, all of our people at the front line, the nurses, the doctors, who are all putting themselves at risk every day to treat those people who have to go to work. That I think, Noah, I think what you talk about, keeping, the suffering at the forefront of looking at Christ's suffering and knowing that we're not alone and that God knows suffering, I think is really.
So Noah, what advice would you have for our young people right now? Something that might be helpful to them to keep their faith growing during this time period right now?
It's interesting. I was actually in New York City right before this whole thing kind of happened while I was on spring break. And we went to Mass there, and before Mass, the priest was kind of trying to downplay the effect of the virus. But he was really, what he was saying was a good thing. He said, I just want you to go out and live your life normally. Just be normal. Keep your habits and keep everything up. And I think that's something really important, to keep the habits that you had before. So don't, I think school has probably started online. Don't sleep in, get up early. I've had the privilege of being able to go to Mass, which has been a great blessing. And I've been praying for everyone who can't be at Mass. And
Thank you.
I've been remembering all those intentions. You're welcome. But get up early, pray in the morning, do your work, make your bed, clean your room. You keep up those habits. And in keeping up those habits, you'll be able to continue to grow, even in a time where you're kind of in desolation. You're away from the physical church and other people and things like that. It takes a lot of self-accountability, but keeping up those habits is important.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And
good advice. Thank you.
Noah, you mentioned very, very well that you've had the opportunity of assisting at Mass, and that's been such a huge blessing for me and for Father Frank as well. You really have the unique position right now of representing all the faithful at every Mass that you've been assisting at. That you are making the responses on behalf of the faithful.
Sure.
That you are representing the faithful who cannot be there. What's that experience been like for you?
It's something that, as a seminarian, you think about the priest standing in the breach. It's him, and he's relating. He's bringing his flock, and he's standing before his flock and bringing their prayers to God. So it's a very unique moment in my own formation to be able to do that in a more express way, to bring those intentions. And obviously the priest who's saying the Mass is uniting heaven and earth through his work in persona Christi, but just being able to be there and represent the community, give the responses. It's something that's really held up in the old Latin Mass. The server always gives the responses, and it's beautiful to kind of see that in the newer Mass, kind of in this unfortunate situation, kind of beautiful effect to that.
Absolutely. And
right.
You spoke the magic. 2 words together: Latin. Mass.
Amen.
Right.
Secret words.
Hey, Father Philip, we've had Gregorian chant, we've had Latin Mass now. I think
we're gonna need a whole segment on that, Dennis. We're gonna need a whole segment on that. Noah, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and as always, we're very proud of you and your vocation. And thank you as always so much for your work. So much appreciated.
Thank you, Bob.
I think we got somebody else coming in. Bye, Noah. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Noah. Thank you.
I think we have somebody else on the line. Let's see.
I hear President Trump.
I was like, I hear someone. Who is here?
Do we have a president?
That's the news.
That's the news. Who is? Where's the? Where's the?
I have no video.
Who's here?
Oh wait. I think I can control that.
Oh, I know who that is. Hey!
What's up, Big Ben?
Hello. This is really cool. I didn't know what was going on. I just kind of signed up for it, and I was like,
because I was like, dude, why didn't you sign up yet?
Yeah, I got that text and I signed.
President Trump was calling into our little video feed here.
Ben, how are we doing with our YouTube channel? Are we sufficing?
I think it's phenomenal.
We're doing okay.
Yeah, some I've heard some like negative people. Well, obviously, it's better in the church, obviously. But but I think you guys are doing a great job of like
Thank you.
Even just editing the videos. They look phenomenal. Like the Mass.
Oh, it's good. That one okay, yeah, we're
that one was really good. That was really good.
Hey, we haven't edited anything else. We're like winging it over here.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to learn on the fly. We have no idea what we're doing.
Don't give away all our secrets,
Oh.
Mrs. Souza.
Hey, under the roof, under the roof.
There's no dispensation for that one.
So Ben, how have you been without really being able to be around church, be around school? What are you finding the most difficult right now?
The most difficult, just getting a schedule, not being so like, just I like having a routine, and not being able to do a lot kind of takes away from that, because I'm just kind of like sitting here and I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do, but I don't know. It's a little hard to stay like, not be lazy and find things to do that are productive.
Absolutely.
How's your prayer life been?
Honestly, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise, because of that whole like having a routine thing. I've decided to start praying a rosary again every day, and or at least some type of prayer, either whether it be Lectio Divina or a Divine Mercy Chaplet, and it's actually really helped me. I for the past couple of days we've actually been praying. Me, Simon, and my mom and my grandfather have started praying together, and that's actually been quite a blessing. So I'm doing well, actually, in my prayer life.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent.
And how is the family doing? I know your grandfather goes to mass every day, so I know it must be really hard, on him. And you're home with Simon's home, right? Your little brother's home. How is that working
Big
under
brother.
one roof?
Well, I said last week, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to handle Sam every day, but I think we've grown a little bit closer, just being around each other and finding like fun things to do while we're at home. It's kind of gotten me to think like, next year I'll be away at college, so it's kind of like a wake up call that I should be, cherishing the time I have,
Nice. Nice.
Sure, he's
nice.
enjoying
Very
now.
Nice.
Have you, we're day, what day are we? 4 or 5? No, we're longer than that, right? Any crazy pranks on the siblings there? No, right? I'm not putting ideas into your head. I'm curious, about the boy mentality of, pulling pranks on their siblings. Just wondering.
Yeah, I feel like Simon has definitely pulled a prank. Oh, well, no, that's not really a prank. He's always been one for messing up my bed whenever I make it, because I never make my bed, but then when I do, he likes to mess it up, and he did that last night. So that was nice.
Play nice. How are you doing? You're a social kind of guy. You like hanging out with your friends. How are you doing not being around them? How are you staying connected to the community?
Well, I discovered not Skype, but what's it called? House Party. It's another app.
Okay.
Called House Party, and I've never really
heard of that one.
It's like a FaceTime thing, but I've never been one to like video chat or FaceTime very often. But on that app, it's kind of like this. It's like it splits the screen, so you can have like up to, I think, 8 people on at a time. So the first time I was on there with everyone, it was like kind of like we were all together, and I really liked it, actually. So
I know for us, it's just so nice to see faces, to hear voices. It feels like we've been cut off from just from our faith community. So it's so nice. That's why I was texting like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Come chat with us for a minute.
So Simon, for some of our younger, underclassmen, freshmen, sophomore, if there is one piece of advice that you could give to them on how to stay strong in their faith, what would you say to them?
I would say definitely set a time during each day to pray. That'll really change your life. Because even having just that like one piece of structure in your life can, like, even if you're not accustomed to it, you don't really pray, think about it as like, we're okay here, like I'm doing fine. There's the coronavirus whole like pandemic, like that's affecting a lot of people, but it's not affecting me, so I can offer it up,
Amen.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Well, Ben, Thank you so much for joining us on our little
Hey, did I
it's
call
not
him
really an
Simon?
amateur talk. It's not really an
Did I-
amateur talk show. What's
You kind
that?
of did, but it like kind of went.
Did
It
I-
kind of
hey,
went. It was not awful.
Father Phil and I were
could-
on the
I
same
could-
riff.
Yeah, we
We noticed.
Ben and I knew. Ben and I knew.
Sorry, Ben. Sorry, Ben.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Poor Ben.
Ben, we miss you. We hope to see you very soon. But keep up the good work, and let's keep each other in prayer.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Take care, Ben.
Thanks,
Good to see you, Ben.
God bless.
Too.
Thanks.
See, if I had any editing skills, I'd be able to go back and edit that out, but
Oh
I
no,
don't.
this is the real deal. This is real life going on right now. Like
This
this is,
is-
I mean, there's no do-overs in real
No.
life, you know.
No, but it's I think we have one more guest coming. I'm telling her right now. Go ahead right now. It's yeah, we should be good.
You know, the one thing that the wisdom of these young people, it really is really awesome. Really awesome.
I think they have
Proud
a lot
of them. Very proud of
Just-
them.
have you noticed the common theme that they're all mentioning? Hold on, let's take this. Hey, Fran.
Hey,
How
Freddie.
are
What's up,
you?
sweetheart?
Doing.
How are you?
It's so good to see you. Welcome home.
Hey, I
so-
am so sorry
Yeah.
that your Austria trip had to be cut short.
It's okay. it really it stinks, but I'm getting used to it now.
Yeah.
Like,
So just
reality.
so our viewers know, Fran was is a student of Franciscan University of Steubenville, and she was on a semester abroad in Austria. Fran, when did you get home?
I got home last Wednesday.
Okay.
Can't remember the date, but yeah.
Well,
Thursday
and I know
Yeah,
you-
I saw your mom and dad in church, and your dad had asked me, really keep Francesca in prayer because I guess you guys had to get out of Dodge pretty quick to make sure that you were able to get home and not stuck there, right?
Yeah, so it was actually pretty chaotic after we found out that we had to be sent home. So everyone was like scrambling to get flights, and all the flights were canceling, and everyone was like losing money, and everyone was freaking out. And they kept saying like, "Oh my gosh, the airports are closing." And I was really grateful that my flight didn't get canceled, the one that I finalized on, and so everyone is back home safely though, that I
Good.
know of.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Glad to hear
Awesome.
that.
Awesome.
How was the how was it being out in Europe? Like what? Because you saw, you were part of, before the COVID-19 came here, you were part of what was going on out there. How was it? Did it affect you while you were out there?
So in the beginning of the program, maybe the first month, everything was kind of normal, and we were traveling around just like how everything was supposed to be, and we were aware of the virus, and they made it known to us. Franciscan University did a really good job keeping us updated and aware of everything that was going on. But then when the big outbreak happened in Italy, probably toward the last week in February, that's when the university canceled our Rome and Assisi trip, and that's when
sorry.
everything started going downhill. It's fine, and so that's when we realized this is actually a really big deal now, and I knew it was something else was gonna happen. I knew the trip, my whole semester, would go down from there because it was increasing a lot. So the university, they started doing more weekly meetings and updates on the coronavirus, and they had a no-go list for countries we couldn't go to anymore, which some some students didn't handle well, and others were just like, it's fine, whatever. But the university was like doing like all this for the good of us, because they really did not want us to get sick, because if we did get sick, the whole program would be shut down. We would have to be like quarantined there for like 2 weeks or more, and it would just be really bad. But after that, maybe a week later, they started canceling more of our trips, and we just saw like over like, I don't know, they kept telling us like how it was like increasing so much, spreading so much, and I was like, oh my gosh. And they wouldn't, eventually they said we couldn't leave Austria anymore, and that was like my last weekend there. And so after that, everyone was like freaking out, like, oh, we're being sent home. And then we found out like through our parents actually that we were being sent home, because they told our parents before us. And then everyone was like devastated. But so then after that, Austria went on lockdown, so we couldn't leave our like our campus, and the police were finding students like outside campus, like stopping them, being like, you can't be outside, like, and we couldn't be in large groups, so we were trying to be quiet, because we're pretty there was 150 of us, and we had to be really quiet, because then the police would like find us. But they were able to get everyone out.
That's good. Well, we are
Good.
so
We're glad you're home safe.
Home safe, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm too. Yes.
So, Fran, I know your faith has always been very important to you, and definitely at the forefront of your life, that drives your life. How did you rely or turn to God, or rely on your faith or turn to God through this situation? And was there anything that you even had moments where you just aha moments in essence of your faith through this? Did you experience any of those?
Well, when I was there, Franciscan University, they offer so much for like so many opportunities for us to like, I don't know, religious opportunities. And so they always had like daily mass there during this, like even during all of this, they had like special masses just like for the end of the coronavirus. So like those, like I went to those, and I've been going to like daily mass every day since I was there. Like they offered that. And,
beautiful.
And it really helped me, I think, through all of this, because when I'm at like main campus, I didn't go to daily mass ever, but this is the first time I ever like tried it out this semester. After doing that, it gave me a lot of comfort that everything was going to be okay, even during all of this. And it's obviously like it's a much different experience. Like, I don't know, coming back from over there to here, it is like the complete opposite, like, of what was like going on in my life. It's like I'm now like quarantined, stuck in my room, and I'm not supposed to be like with anyone, while I was like out there with like all my friends. Like we were praying together, we were just like hanging out and like talking and traveling. So it's like so much different. But now when I'm with my family, everything is like more comforting. And I just told you, Melissa, that we're doing the daily live rosary through Relevant Radio, which my family has always been like a fan of. So this is the 5th day of the 9-day novena for it. So I've been enjoying that. as well. And I don't know, that's helping me in being stuck here, not stuck. Being
Quarantine.
my family quarantine, but like with my family has made me like I don't know, grow closer to them during this time too.
Awesome.
And my parents have been really great to me during this time. I'm very thankful for them for helping me out during this like I don't know, rough patch.
Sure. And understandably, and I know a lot of our young people are experiencing losses. You know, you have a completely different experience as well. But I think in all of this and I think it's important to remember that while our suffering may not look the same, we all suffer in different ways, and to not minimize and no one should minimize their suffering or go, oh, they're suffering more than, you know, everyone's suffering. And I think that also is uniting us not only to one another, but to Christ and his passion.
Absolutely.
So Fran, it's so good to see your face. We are so thrilled and happy that you made it home safely. And while you are home, I know it's disappointing for you to not only have to leave Austria, but to not even be able to go back to Franciscan. That we're happy that you're home, you're safe, and we look forward to seeing you real soon.
Me too. Thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Have a good night,
Thank
Francesca.
you.
Fran.
Good night.
Good night. Wow. Well, you know, we're at almost an hour. We got 3 minutes and 30 seconds to a 90-minute show here. For anyone who's still watching, thank you for being with us. I think all of our, it's interesting that all of our teens are so far away, yet there is these common threads that are just woven in. And I think that common thread is Christ and God, and that relationship that they have with him. Their loss of the Eucharist right now, of receiving the Eucharist, making sure that prayers at the front of their, at the front of their mind for their scheduling. How blessed are we in our community?
For sure. I mean, they're a great inspiration for not only for each other, but for all of us, for the adults of our parish, and for all of us who have the honor and the responsibility to help form and lead them. So we pray that all of that, the Lord will continue to strengthen their faith and our faith during this time. We thank God for their presence in our parish. They bring so much to our parish, so many gifts, so many graces that I can speak for Father Frank and myself that we're and I know for both of you that we're very proud of them, and that they're a great blessing in our lives.
And I learned something really important tonight. And Melissa, I don't know if you know this. Over your shoulder.
I know. I'm sorry. I moved.
Hey! I'm learning the Morse code tonight. I've been watching.
You're supposed to be paying attention. Not calling out light.
Oh, well, your light. Her light is strobing out. Your light just went out behind you. So
my wife, I think, went to bed. We have the Alexa, those smart plugs, and you say, Alexa, lights off, and all the lights go off.
She's saying, time for bed. It's too late. Yeah. I gotta move again. Oh, I gotta go back to my mom's apartment and get where there's some better lighting. Thank you to all of our viewers tonight. And Mr. Susan, did you get anything else other than my light Morse code tonight?
It was just, honestly, I was really happy to be able to end my night seeing all our young people. They honestly are an inspiration to me. It's just, their faith is amazing. I don't know if it was this video or another video when we were talking about our young people gathering outside the church before the 8 a.m. Mass and praying the rosary together. And they're just, it's just awesome to see them. A lot of them were talking about being in Our Lady's Chapel for adoration, even, while they're home. And when young people, you think about it, a lot of times I hear from older people, what's wrong with today's generation? I don't have that experience at St. Philip's. Like, I'm blown away by our young people, and it's just awesome to see them. I love them, and I really miss them. I just can't wait till this is over, and can get back at it.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Melissa and Dennis, thank you so much for all of your work tonight, and for joining on this show from 622 Putnam Pike. We're saying good night. God bless.
Good night, everyone.
You.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. We're filming something tomorrow, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Day after that,
if you have not clicked the subscribe button,
right.
Thank you. Please hit that subscribe button, and also that bell button to be notified of videos going forward. So good to see everybody tonight, and see you tomorrow.
God bless. We'll be back for more tomorrow.
Amen.
God bless you. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night.